Hey everybody, it's Bishop Tapp again. Day 2 of self-reliance. Just some thoughts I want to share with you today. And actually I want to focus on, if last time you'll remember, we had this financial stewardship success map. I want to focus on the foundation because that's where we always start in the church. The foundation is in the red box. And it has 3 very key principles that, as I went back through this, I realized just how important this is. If we want to be self-reliant, there's really 3 things we need to focus on. The first is faith in Jesus Christ. Second is unity with spouse. And third is having a commitment to being self-reliant. And all of those are essential. I want to start with faith in Jesus Christ. In fact, one of the principles in here is counsel with the Lord about your finances. I want you to think back when you were raising kids, or when maybe you are raising kids now, or maybe you have to think back just to when you were a kid. And I hope that those around you taught you should be praying for success in what you do, praying for guidance as you select your career, but also, even if you were struggling studying for a test or getting a good grade, you should pray because God cares about your success. And I think that is super key in our lives, that we need to make sure that we remember that God cares about our success. And so if we put our faith in Him, He will help us overcome our challenges. If we struggle being self-reliant, He will be there right with us. I love this. Just that in John 10:10 it says, I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. We're to live an abundant, a rich, a successful life, and if we have faith, then ask Heavenly Father to help us in our finances, and not just in our finances, but in particular our behaviors around finances. Because most of the time, like I said before, it's not a money problem, it's a me problem. It's not that I am not making enough money, it's I'm not wisely managing the money that I have. And so if we want His help, we need to ask for it. There's an adage, you probably heard it before, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And that is so true. Make plans consciously, daily, to be self-reliant, and check in with yourself and with Heavenly Father. Okay, like I said, the next thing then is unity with spouse. You not only need to be checking in with Heavenly Father, but with your spouse. It's interesting. All of the books I showed you last time that have all these different principles in it, universally, everybody says you've got to be unified with your spouse in order to succeed with money. That we all know this, that the number one factor in divorce is money, and not being on the same page with money. You've got to, as husband and wife, be able to be unified with each other and with the Lord on it. The 3 of you need to get on the same page. I think it's vital, and I'll say this again and again, that spouses share a bank account so that there are no secrets. And maybe you budget a certain amount for each other, but you share the money that you bring into the household together. I've found that's been such a powerful factor in me and Maddie's life. We actually rarely have disagreements about money, and it's interesting as we seek to get on the same page. And if you get on the same page with correct principles, with the principles our Heavenly Father would have you working on, you'll be blessed, and it'll actually be a very unifying thing in your family. Many couples who have gotten together, like last time I was talking about Dave Ramsey's baby steps, those who do that together and walk up that ladder together, it actually strengthens their marriage. You'd be surprised. So be unified with your spouse. You got to be working on this together. Every couple is going to be different. One of you is going to be more frugal and the other will want to spend more, to whatever degree that is. It doesn't really matter. In our marriage, I'm the spender. I like the numbers. I like to do all the spreadsheets, but man, I can't resist getting that next piece of technology or doing something on our home. And that's been something I've had to work on, and Maddie's been helping me with that. And again, it's not a bad thing, but if you can keep your mind focused on being self-reliant, it can be super important. And then lastly, is a commitment to being self-reliant. I think this is something that's extremely important. This is a quote out of the handbook that I found again the other day, and it is so pertinent to me. Self-reliance is the ability, commitment, and effort to provide the spiritual and temporal necessities of life for self and family. As members become self-reliant, they are also better able to serve and care for others. I think that's awesome. Self-reliance is the ability to. So are you able? Are you committed? So maybe you aren't 100% able-bodied, but are you 100% committed to being self-reliant? And it's the effort to provide both the spiritual and temporal necessities you need. You've got to be putting in that effort too. So those three things are key. It's that commitment to being self-reliant. I think this is important to remember. Dallin H. Oaks says, whatever causes us to be dependent on someone else for decisions or resources we could provide for ourselves weakens us spiritually and retards our growth towards what the gospel plan intends us to be. I think that's so important to remember. Whatever causes us to be dependent on someone else will ultimately retard our growth. So we need to have a commitment that will be self-reliant. I've seen members of the church react differently to this. I've seen some members of the church who have gone without a steady, stable job for several years and never came to the church for financial assistance. They had that commitment that they were going to be self-reliant, whatever it took. I've seen people lose jobs and go drive Uber, do whatever they can do. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. There are certain things you can do to just get after it and have that commitment to be self-reliant. If you'll be committed to being self-reliant, you'll eventually be self-reliant. And you might struggle along the way, and that's okay. And it's not that we as a church or as a ward don't even want to help each other. We'll help when people fall on hard times, but we need people to be self-reliant so that they can dig themselves out as quick as they can. There's another principle in the handbook that says members of the church should not rely on the church as an insurance plan, meaning you need to plan yourself for hard times so that not if hard times come, but when they come, because every one of us is going to lose a job or have some big accident. It is going to happen. Being self-reliant is preparing for that day so that we're not relying on the church as our insurance policy, because that's not being committed to being self-reliant. If we're truly being self-reliant, we'll have enough set aside that when hard times come, we rely on ourselves and we don't have to run to the church for help. I can't stress that enough. We're going to talk about insurance in one of these videos, but I'll just stress again, the church is not insurance against hard times, that we've got to be preparing ourselves. And if we do that, we're going to have the Spirit with us. I testify that being self-reliant is a principle of the gospel, and not just a principle, it's a commandment. And whenever we live a commandment, there's a blessing attached. And so if we want that blessing in our lives of peace of mind, of feeling like we're secure, we can do that by living the principle of self-reliance. I know that's true. I love you. We'll talk again tomorrow.